So in this pilot evaluation by the government, this is, by the way, the government now where we're helping about 15,000 babies a year with our bracelet, we observed a 57% reduction in death rate for newborns who had the bracelet versus those who didn't. Go around them, I had my notebook trying to be like, wait, why, what do you mean this baby got more sick? Why did it get more sick? What do you mean the blood culture wasn't conclusive?
Yeah.
What do you mean it could have come earlier? Why didn't it come earlier? So I was kind of like probing all these questions and writing them down and trying to see where some opportunities lied to help babies.
Wow.
And I remember talking to my friend and he's like, don't give up on Bempu. Bempu's like, this is your legacy, like things, COVID's not gonna be here forever. Like stick with it. So you're not alone. And it's a big problem that needs solving and the universe wants you to solve it. So kind of stay resilient, stay at it and expect that it's not gonna be easy.
Welcome to Founders of Impact. This is a Miller Center podcast. My name is Karen Rundy. I am one of the directors here at Miller Center for Global Impact. We're based at Santa Clara University. And today I am really excited that we have someone on the podcast that I've actually known for some years. He's been a part of Miller Center for a while. We've got Ratul Narain, CEO and founder of Bempu. Welcome, Ratul.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me, Karen.
Speaking of here, so actually we're not really at Santa Clara University. We're across the world. Do you want to quickly tell everybody where we are?
We are in beautiful North Goa, India.
Yes.
That's right. But just by the beach.
Literally the beach is like right there. So yeah, we're in Goa. What do you want to tell them why we're in Goa?
Miller Center has been kind enough to organize a number of us entrepreneurs here to get together, take some time to reflect, take some time to get to know each other and learn from each other at this retreat. I think this was a great spot to pick for it.
Yes, I think so as well. So yeah, just some context. Miller Center did our first Entrepreneur Summit last year in 2025 in Nairobi. Ratul was there as well. It went so well that we decided to make this an annual thing. So we're doing our second one here in Goa with 28 entrepreneurs. And it just felt like an obvious kind of invitation to have you join us for this one. And Ratul actually co-hosted or co-facilitated a session earlier today with a colleague. I thought went really well.
Yeah, it's actually, I just want to say that I appreciated the Kenya experience and I appreciate this experience. There's 28 entrepreneurs, but they're from all over the world and they have like different lessons learned from their different them. So last year I walked away with a lot of like really kind of insights that I never really thought about from some of the different entrepreneurs who are at different stages or had done different challenges, and that really helped me over the last year. So I'm really excited about this weekend here. So thank you for having us.
Yes, of course. And I think like I've known you for some years now. Like you started Bempu, I think it was in 2013.
2014, yeah.
2014.
End of 2014.
Yes. And I think I met you in 2018. That was the first time you came to a Miller Center program. And then since 2018, it's just been such a kind of really amazing to see every stage of growth that you've gone through with Bempu and like just kind of following you on that journey. And like Miller Center has been, I feel like, a part of your journey in this kind of different way. And so I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
But before we get into all of that, if you can maybe share at a high level what Bempu is all about for folks that don't know what Bempu is and what the impact is.
Yeah. So Bempu is an India-based social enterprise. We make medical devices that help newborns survive. We have 4 innovations in the space of neonatal hypothermia, kangaroo care, and helping babies breathe that are particularly useful for babies in low-resource settings to help them avoid these life-threatening situations. We work with UNICEF in about 17 countries right now. This year, we will help about 80,000 babies. Wow. In total, we've helped about 350,000 babies, almost all of them premature, and almost 80% of them in low-resource settings.
So I think, you're of Indian descent, but you grew up in the States?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. So, right. My parents are originally from Delhi, but they moved to the States in the 70s. And so my story kind of is, my dad used to work for the World Bank. Growing up, I used to travel a lot to India to see family almost every year. And this was like the old India, kind of 30, a lot has changed then, but kind of 30 years ago. And then I also used to travel to a lot of developing countries with my dad's job in the World Bank. So we went to Africa, went to the Middle East. So I was very aware growing up of the, quality of healthcare, quality of life that I had access to in the US versus what I saw in other parts of the world. So from an early age, that was kind of my motivating factor to get into the impact and the development space. Yeah, so then I studied engineering at Stanford. They had a really good medical device program. I got a chance to get recruited and work for Johnson & Johnson, where I made cardiovascular devices. But I always had that bug in me to see if I could get back into that global health, to go work somewhere abroad. Johnson & Johnson was also very supportive of that goal of mine. And one of the directors told me about a company that was making low-cost incubators in India and put me in touch with them. They got it, and Johnson & Johnson gave me a sabbatical to come to Bangalore for 6 months and work with this company. Got really excited about babies, got really excited about entrepreneurship, got really excited about India. So I stuck around. I did 2 years of field research after that. This was back in 2012, talking to doctors and nurses and understanding some of the reasons why babies were dying and facing injury, came up with some ideas, and then launched Bempu 10 years ago. So I've been in India almost 15 years now. Yeah.
What a journey. So when you were doing that kind of initial research, where did you start? What did that look like? You were just like, I'm just going to go to all these hospitals and talk to a bunch of doctors and figure out what the problems were? Like, what did that journey look like?
It was really confusing.
Was it?
At the time, yeah. I mean, I was coming from I was coming from a decently good job, and I had a sabbatical at Johnson & Johnson where there was a paid sabbatical, and then I was like, you know what, I'm going to go do something, and I didn't know what it was. And honestly, I have a background in cardiovascular devices, not really babies. But for various reasons, babies was the right fit at the time. But yeah, so I basically thought, you know what, let me just go around and do some quote unquote need finding. So it was a little confusing because it's not like you can just walk into a hospital and like go talk to moms who have just had a baby or go there's a lot of things you have to get permission and stuff like that. But eventually I knocked on enough doctors' doors and said, can I hang out with you and stay in your ICU for a couple weeks? I'm like an engineer trying to see what I can do to improve newborn health. And luckily a lot of doctors are actually very welcoming, and a lot of and they let me basically shadow them for weeks. And so that's basically what I was doing at different government hospitals, private hospitals, clinics all around India, wherever I got the opportunity to just go around them. I had my notebook trying to be like, wait, why, what do you mean this baby got more sick? Why did it get more sick? What do you mean the blood culture was inconclusive? What do you mean this baby is leaving even though it's not well yet? The parents want to take it out. Why? Where are they going? Why did this baby come so late to the hospital? What do you mean it could have come earlier? Why didn't it come earlier? So I was kind of probing all these questions and writing them down and trying to see where some opportunities lied to help babies. It was quite a enlightening, quite a confusing. I mean, all of this was very new. I mean, I had the engineer lens on it, and I also had maybe a little bit. I was coming from the U.S., so it was very enlightening. I had to do a lot of sort of secondary research while I was seeing these things happening to understand what is antibiotic resistance for this type of baby? What do you mean this is a comorbidity? What do you mean? So I had to do a lot of kind of clinical research while I was in the daytime seeing these babies. But it was a very enlightening experience and now very rewarding to see that we were able to help some of those babies that I saw during that field research.
Yeah, so from all that research came Bempu, the little baby monitor, which you brought with us.
Yeah.
Walk us through what this technology is and why is it so important?
Yeah, so we have a couple products. I'll tell you about our most popular one, which is the Bempu Temp Watch.
Yes. Cute, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah. So in India has the highest number of newborns born out of any country. So there's almost 27 million babies born, and almost a third of these babies are born low birth weight. So India has a large number of babies, but also a disproportionately large number of smaller and low weight babies. Yeah. Unlike the US or the UK, when you have a small 0.2, 1.5 kg baby, you can't wait till that baby's nice and plump like you might in the West until you discharge them. In the West, they might wait till that baby's 2.5 kilograms, kind of like 6, 7, 8 pounds. But here they'll discharge those babies at 4 pounds, 5 pounds. These babies that are generally in an incubator kept warm, they get cold very easily, the small ones. They become hypothermic. Even if they get half a degree cold, they start burning all their body fat trying to stay warm. That causes them to, and they burn all their sugar in the body. That causes them to become hypoglycemic. Yeah. As a byproduct of burning the baby fat that they have, the fat stores, that causes a different byproduct that causes them to constrict their vessels. That's part of the reason why their hands and feet get cold first, or your hands and feet get cold first, but also their lung vessels constrict, so they have trouble breathing. So they have hypoglycemia, low sugar, they have hypoxia, trouble having oxygen in their body, and that will lead to organ failure, brain damage, or death. So hypothermia is one of the top causes of injury and death for low-weight newborns. And I remember this in a government hospital. I was hanging out with some nurses in the wards. There was a baby. They were passing around this just born. The family was there by the cot. and they were passing around the baby. And at the time, we were going around randomly measuring babies, trying to see what hypothermia looked like, the incidence rate of hypothermia. This baby was blue.
Oh my God.
Okay, the parents didn't really know that this baby was cold, and they were passing around the baby and passing around a box of sweets around the baby. We went and measured this baby, and then we're like, this baby's cold. You got to wrap up this baby. So awareness about hypothermia, everyone knows about fever for babies, but not necessarily about hypothermia. And hypothermia is dangerous and deadly for babies.
Right.
So we came up with a bunch of concepts, talked to a bunch of doctors, and what we developed was this tiny bracelet that we call the Temp Watch. So it's a bracelet that goes on the baby's wrist and keeps monitoring their temperature continuously day and night. If the baby is warm, it blinks a blue light. If the baby is ever cold or hypothermic, it beeps, it blinks an orange light, it wakes up the mom or the dad so they can warm the baby with skin-to-skin care well before the baby has any low blood sugar, trouble breathing, or dies.
Wow. Like, it's just amazing something so tiny and so simple is literally so life-saving.
Yeah.
It can, like, literally change millions of lives. It's incredible to think about that. And I guess when you're in a hospital, like, walk us through what a kind of typical hospital looks like in India in like the NICU. It's like so many babies and how many nurses are. I feel like that's part of the problem too. There's just not enough nurses to kind of manage and watch over these babies. Do you find that that's the case?
Yeah, that is definitely part of the case. So definitely there'll be like maybe one nurse watching 15 or 20 babies, and at nighttime there may be even less. Or they may not be able to respond to these babies immediately. Typically in India also there's kind of the neonatal intensive care unit where in India they also call them like sick newborn care units, SNCUs in the governments. These are where the very small babies are kept. When they become stable enough that they don't need maybe intensive unit, but they'll move them to the mother's side. So mothers typically are staying in the hospital. And these are crowded areas. They're often trying to get the babies out from the NICU so they can admit other babies and move them. You'll have 3 or 4 babies under one, inside an incubator or under one warmer. Very crowded places, and they're trying to discharge these babies. They're trying to get them healthy and discharge them as fast as possible. Yeah. So our watch is mostly useful for those babies going home. We have another innovation, but when you're talking about low nurses, one of the issues that I also saw was in this hospital in Hyderabad. One of the other issues that premature babies has is that because their brain and their lungs are not well developed, they'll be breathing, then all of a sudden they will just stop breathing. Okay, it's called apnea.
Really like
prematurity.
My worst nightmare. Yeah. Oh my God.
And so again, in the U.S., you'll have one nurse watching maybe 1 or 2 of these babies who have trouble breathing, and she will just be around. If that baby stops breathing, she runs over to that baby, looks at it. Maybe she stimulates the baby's foot or the nerves, or they rub their spine, and that kind of gets this premature baby to stop breathing. These are like the 800-gram babies, like 1 kilogram babies, like 2 pounds. But in India, you'll have again one nurse watching maybe 5 or 6 of these like very critical babies, and at nighttime. Maybe even less, and they can't always respond immediately when this baby has stopped breathing. And I've seen babies go like minutes without oxygen, without breathing. Eventually, maybe the nurse will be able to come over there and respond and go get this baby to restart breathing. So I remember talking with some doctors, this happened, a baby had stopped breathing. Nurses were in the other room, the doctor went and flicked this baby's foot, resolved it, and then he came to me and said, Ratul, you're an engineer trying to build something to help save babies. Why don't you build something that monitors if the baby stopped breathing and then does what we do, to stimulate the baby's foot to restart breathing. So we got funding from the Gates Foundation and USAID to build this system called the apnea boot. So hold this. Okay. The little shoe that goes on the baby's foot.
So tiny.
And if
I
feel
feel it. Yeah,
you feel it vibrating?
I feel it. Yeah. That's cool.
So if the baby stops breathing, it vibrates the foot, and that helps the baby automatically restart breathing immediately, faster than the nurse can get to the baby.
Awesome.
And also, a lot of times, if the baby does stop breathing, nurses don't have time to wash their hands, so they'll run over to the baby, pick up the baby, start stimulating the baby, and that's a big cause of infection for the babies. But again, it's an emergency situation. You don't have time to run over there and wash your hands with soap for 30 seconds and come over. Yeah. So this also helps avoid unnecessary touching of the very small 800, 900 gram babies.
Gotcha.
And avoid infections.
So clearly highly impactful work that you're doing. What's the business model? Like, you've got an amazing product. There's a product market fit clearly. How do you make money? Like, what does that look like for you guys?
Yeah, so we sell in public health markets and private markets. And essentially, for example, these bracelets, we sell for about $8 per premature baby. UNICEF is one of our largest customers. Okay. We also sell, we're just about to get a contract with the government of Nepal. Sell to organizations like Japaigo. We have a large NGO partners in different parts of India that basically deploy this to premature babies. And we have 15 clinical studies that show that we're helping reduce mortality, helping babies gain more weight. helping them survive. So we basically manufacture it for about $3-4, sell it for about $8, use that margin then to grow our team and grow into more markets.
And is everything manufactured here in India?
Yeah, we have different components that are made from different vendors. A couple pieces that we get from China and from the US. But we're an ISO 13485 registered company for medical devices, and we do the manufacturing, quality inspections, and then ship them out.
Wow.
So pretty simple business model. I mean, we design, manufacture, sell it at a margin, and then reinvest that for more products.
Got it. So if I just wanted to get this for a friend of mine that's having a baby, is there somewhere I could just go and easily purchase this for myself?
Yeah. If your friend is having a baby, I might recommend this product, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
So I told you about Apnea Boot, which
Yes.
helps babies restart breathing. And actually, a lot of these sick babies, even once they've become a little more stable, in the US, again, you would just monitor them to make sure they're breathing fine for a month. But you can't do that in India. You can't just keep them relatively stable babies for a month just for observation.
Yeah.
But what started happening is doctors started sending Apnea Boot home with babies. And so we started actually renting it. But if you look at it, it's a big piece of equipment. It's kind of designed for the hospital.
Right.
You have to attach it to the foot, this and that. You can't move the baby around. So this was not necessarily the best solution for stable babies. So we developed this other tool here called we call it the belly button right now. It looks like a button and it goes above the belly. And so what it does is you clip it onto the baby and it keeps monitoring for movement. And if the baby ever stops breathing or stops abdominal movements for 20 seconds or more, it beeps, it vibrates, and it to rouse the baby, it alerts the parents, and gets your attention immediately. So this is useful not only for sick babies, but also for like first-time babies or babies who can't. Maybe you're at home and you're doing other stuff in the kitchen or something, and the baby's there, or at nighttime. This has been very popular for first-time parents and ICU discharge parents, and this is available on Amazon.
Really?
Yeah. It also connects to your iPhone and connects to your Android phone, alerts you there, and it's only $40. Every purchase goes towards a good cause because we also sell this to work with UNICEF and other public health partners for all of these products.
Got it. So your Bempu setup is a for-profit, or are you a hybrid? I can't remember actually.
We're a for-profit.
Oh, gotcha. So if I could zoom out a little bit. So as we said, we have known you, Ratul, for a while. The first time I got to know you was all the way back in 2018. You were a part of Miller Center's Accelerator. Walk us through what your life was looking like at that point in time versus now in 2026. Where were you with Bempu? Where were you in your life? Why were you a part of Miller Center in 2018?
So 2018 we only had one product. Now we have 4, and we had just won a $2 million award from the Gates Foundation, Grand Challenges Canada, USAID, and a number of other partners who were trying to scale innovations to help improve newborn survival. And it was an intimidating time, I think, for me. I'm a first-time entrepreneur. We had a lot of momentum and stuff around us, but maybe not enough strategy or idea of what we were getting into, and we had this influx of money. So I really reached out I kind of chased I think I was late for the application at the time. And I chased Alex to see if hey man, I think I really need some help though. So you were kind enough to let me into the program there.
Yeah, so that's, when you say Alex, you mean Alex Pan?
Alex Pan, yeah.
Yeah, so Alex Pan used to be a part of Miller Center. That's really cool. I have a very distinct memory of you. We were talking about this earlier. Of you wearing the Kanga sling, which is that still another product that you guys offer?
Yeah, that is. I think I left it over there. But
all good, but it's
right.
this really cute photo I have of you wearing this sling, and you're you're all fancy wearing a business shirt and everything.
Yeah.
But I just remember how cool is this young, very bright man who could do anything with his life, and he chooses to work in basically saving babies' lives, and you're just proudly wearing this thing that usually maybe a mother would wear. And I just thought that was one of the coolest things I've seen, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, you should follow us on Instagram. You'll see some good reels of the
I do actually follow you.
of the Kanga sling. It's this baby carrier specifically for premature babies to help parents do skin to skin care with the premature baby, which is shown to help improve their chances of survival.
Very much
that
so.
Also we sell on Amazon in the US. So
also a very cool
premature
product.
parents,
So what did you get out of that 2018 experience? What was a takeaway, or if there was nothing, that's fine too.
No, we worked closely with our mentors, Alex Limberis and
Luxembourg's, yep.
Mervat.
Mervat Mina,
Yeah.
cool.
And also there was like I guess a large cohort of other entrepreneurs I met and other mentors and the structure of the course. So I think what it did was kind of solidify for me what our model is, right? Like we basically manufacture, sell for a margin, what our cost of sales is, what our sales process is, kind of get that leaned out, which was very helpful, and it helped me kind of understand what we needed to do with that funding.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, we had sort of three things that we were trying to do with that funding. One was build clinical evidence. Two was engineer and reduce the cost and the quality of our product. And the third was the sales. And that's where I needed a little bit of help growing the revenue, because I'm more of a engineer, clinical kind of guy, but not a business kind of guy. And from that process, we developed a strong model to sell to the Indian government, B, the Indian private market, and 3, to other international public health programs. So we took those funds, we got into proposals for 10 Indian states. We hired 20-30 salespeople.
Wow.
And for the private market, and then we started working with UNICEF. Then COVID hit.
Ugh, yes.
So it was tough because we had just hired a lot of staff, put a lot of marketing effort into it, inventory everything. Our salespeople couldn't go visit hospitals. We had like 30 people on staff. And the model was that they'd go knock on doctors' doors, just like I had been doing,
Right.
and sell the product, and they couldn't do that. Then with the government, the Indian government, is tough as it is, we knew it was going to be tough. But of the 7 states that were ready to procure, we could only really get through procurement in 1 state. And then after that, with COVID, they were not necessarily taking further innovations up. It was all around that. But luckily, our public health work actually struck a strong chord with UNICEF and with WHO and a couple other development agencies. So that really picked up. And in the meantime, our clinical studies still kept going on. So kind of after COVID, we were in this great position to maybe go back to it. But it was a tough time.
Yeah, oh my gosh. So I have a couple follow-up questions.
Yeah.
So the first one is, so your background is engineering. You went to Stanford, got your degree and your master's in engineering. So you're an engineer, like that's what you do. You develop this like amazing product.
Yeah.
And then you started a company. And I feel like that takes a whole other kind of type of skill set, is to lead a company, lead a huge, like hiring so many people. So how has your leadership journey been from like this like really smart dude visiting hospitals, doing research, like creating a product, and then like developing a massive team? Like how did you have to maybe like adapt, or like what did you have to learn to be that kind of leader for Bempu?
That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, before I moved to India, I had never even like managed people.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So I had an intern once, but I also didn't do a great job at Johnson Johnson. I don't think that was quite a learning experience at that time. But yeah, so I was fortunate definitely to have help and mentors along the way. Not just from GSBI, and also some other mentors in India to help me navigate kind of the Indian landscape. But it was a crash course. It was a tough process. I think at the early days, I found maybe 4 people who stuck around for a long time. One of them is still with me, right? I mean, we've gone through 10 years now, who are very passionate and also very adaptable and very smart. So the 4 of us kind of formed like a little bit of a core team where we could navigate hiring, redirecting processes, deciding what kind of sales, understanding customers. There's a lot of, I think, good critical thinking in the early days, and also open communication. I think one of the feedbacks that I've gotten from organizations we've worked with, who are working with other organizations, is how transparent I think we are. Like everyone, whether a lot of people don't tell their salespeople what it costs to manufacture it, because salespeople might want to like.
Right.
So we're pretty transparent about the cost of manufacturing going up and down. Everyone knows what our sales and revenues are. I've been toying with the idea of having an open salary structure, but we're not there yet. But so we've been I think I've tried to be pretty transparent. Definitely growing. Once we had more people, it was very difficult to explain my decision to everyone. That was a growing pain.
I see.
Where people used to feel like, hey, why did you change the packaging on this? We thought, we didn't discuss this, or why did we try to? So I started sending like weekly emails and monthly emails that kind of outlined a lot of the decisions, kept everyone updated. It's quite a learning experience.
Sure. What's a piece of advice, like knowing all that you know now, like to a founder that's kind of just starting out? Maybe they're doing something in medical devices as well. They're about to launch a product and start. Like, what's a piece of advice you would give them going forward, knowing all that you know now?
So I think what we're doing, and there's many of us here also who are doing these medical devices and stuff, it's not designed to be easy.
Yes.
And you don't get into it because it's easy. You get into it because it's a big problem that needs solving. And I think there's definitely, we hit a lot of challenges along the way. What I think is important to realize is, one, the universe wants you to succeed. There's the Miller Center is there to help us. We've been fortunate to have various funders, Gates, Grand Challenges Canada, mentors. So you're not alone, and it's a big problem that needs solving, and the universe wants you to solve it. So kind of stay resilient, stay at it, and expect that it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
It's maybe my advice, and it is
True.
rewarding.
Yeah, you're saying kind of like manage your expectations, that if you're doing kind of impact-driven work, like it will be tough, but you will find, like you said, the universe wants you to succeed. So there will be people that will be behind you, because like it's I mean, I call it heart-driven work, because you're doing it with that purpose, and you naturally attract other people, other souls that want to support that. So has that been your experience? It sounds like it. Yeah.
I mean, you just got to stay resilient.
Yeah.
And I think now, having gone through tough times and good times, I also know during the tough times how to get the help I need and ask for help.
Yeah.
But there will be tough times. Stay resilient, stay at it. But the universe needs you to solve these problems.
Yeah, so. And you said it's rewarding. So can you share a moment, like maybe a very powerful moment that really hit you in your work, saying like, this makes everything worth what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Like all the sacrifice, all the long hours. Like, what was that one moment for you? Or maybe there was a few moments.
There are a few moments.
Yeah.
I'll tell you like a couple short stories. So when we first started, we were trying to monitor babies and find out which babies were hypothermic. And we have a wristband, but most of the time when you're measuring temperature, you measure it for a baby under the armpit.
Yeah.
So we had to prove that we could find out which babies were hypothermic by monitoring at their wrist. And we made this like dinky prototype that would record, a good prototype, but that would monitor babies' temperatures overnight. And then the next day we'd come and we'd download the data and we'd see if this baby was hypothermic. And we're also measuring their like armpit every so often to see if they were actually, how it correlated.
Yeah.
We were at St. Philomena's Hospital working with Dr. Archana, who's been one of our biggest supporters over the years. And we had measured this baby, but the staff who was helping me measure it was measuring in Fahrenheit. We didn't know what hypothermia was in Fahrenheit and Celsius. Anyways, we come the next day, we download the data. A week later, we go to Dr. Archana and we show her this data, because there was this one baby out of 27. We measured like 26 babies. None of them were looking like they were hypothermic. Mm-hmm. We were like, okay, maybe there's no hypothermia in India. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it's not a big cause for injury. Baby 27, Nadia comes around. I look at this data and her temperature is like low like this, okay? Yeah. The rest of the babies are like up here.
Yeah.
And we were looking at this like a day later, we're like, was this something wrong with our prototype? What's going on? Mm-hmm. Next week, like Dr. Arna spent some time with us. We're like, hey, by the way, there's this one baby, Nadia, like her temperature is low. We think she was hypothermic. She's like, is this Nadia? We're like, yes. We're like, yeah, this is Nadia. She's like, this is Nadia from last week in the ward. And we're like, yeah. She's like, this baby, we found out later, had a severe infection. And the infection had gotten all the way into her spinal cord. We had to do lumbar punctures to take out the spinal fluid to do a blood culture for it. And are you telling me that when she was in the ward and you were doing your thing, when she was with the mother there, that this baby's hands and feet were cold for 24 hours? And we're like, yeah, that's what our data showed. She was pissed. She was not pissed, but she was upset that her nurses didn't catch the hypothermia. And then she was like, we need to put this bracelet on every baby in our ward, because if we could have caught this baby a couple days later, we could have prevented it from having a severe infection. So infections in newborns often presents as them being hypothermic. You think they get fevers, but a lot of times they actually end up staying cold.
Yeah.
So that was like an aha moment where we're like, oh my God, this was like a real case where if we had been beaping for all the time and telling the nurses that this baby was cold, we could have prevented an injury.
Yeah.
A few, had a couple other, launched the product. We definitely had some babies who we had caught some infections and things for. But then we did this study in Rajasthan, and the government asked us to give babies. These are babies in tribal areas, rural areas. These are the smallest babies that the government takes care of. Many of these babies had spent like 2 or 3 weeks in the hospital getting phototherapy, ventilation, and so on. And then the doctors discharged half of them with our bracelet, half of them without our bracelet. Followed them up for 4 weeks. The babies who didn't have our bracelet, about 14% of these babies died within 4 weeks of being discharged. Again, like 1.5 kg, 1.4 kilogram babies, small babies being discharged from government centers. The group that had our bracelet had a 6% death rate versus the 14%. So in this pilot evaluation by the government, this is, by the way, the government now where we're helping about 15,000 babies a year with our bracelet, we observed a 57% reduction in death rate for newborns who had the bracelet versus those who didn't. And this was in line with our theory of change and the research we had done on the importance of hypothermia in low-weight newborns. So when I saw those results, and I remember I talked to these mothers, we saw these babies, many of them had infections, and our watch was beeping, and the mother called the ambulance. She called the local health worker. She got back to the hospital, whereas otherwise she might have waited a day, she might not have known, or maybe that baby would have gotten cold at nighttime and might have died in the morning when the mother, or the next time the mother woke up to breastfeed the baby. So that was like an aha moment for me where we're like, all right, clearly this is like making a dent.
Huge dent, I would say.
Yeah.
That's incredible. All right, so maybe the opposite of that question, thank you for sharing that, by the way. Was there a moment where you were like, I'm doing all this work, you're like maybe just getting really frustrated? Was there a moment where you just felt like quitting and walking away?
There's definitely been challenges. So the COVID years, again, just to recap, in the COVID years, just before COVID, we had a lot of funding and we had hired a big team. And COVID hit and we were just burning cash on these salaries and the team couldn't really execute on growing our programs and getting us to more babies and selling. So I had to lay off. At the same time, also, we didn't get through many of the governments that I'd visited. I'd spent almost like 9 months traveling to 20 different states in India, convincing the governments, and we convinced them to put us in their budget to help us save babies. But government is not so easy as just convincing and they buy. There's many steps. So several of our proposals even got rejected by like 1 or 2 people who we never even got a chance to meet at the top level. And it was just painful how much effort we and the state governments had done to get to only get these proposals rejected. So I was feeling pretty dejected because the government babies were the ones that we really wanted to work with. We were, of course, selling in private and corporate hospitals, which was a little bit easier. So I was feeling pretty dejected, and I was also feeling that, hey, maybe this is not a scaling business. And yeah, we're saving babies. Maybe we need to be a nonprofit or something. So in the meantime, I hired someone, and I was also feeling like I've been in India for like 7-8 years. This is not feeling like home. I'm feeling a little uncomfortable here. I don't know how to negotiate. I was like feeling out of my element. So I raised some money to do a U.S. startup. And I moved to US in 2019, and I tried to do a pregnancy and newborn coaching service that was like a VC-funded service. It was inspired by a grant and a program we had done in India that was a WhatsApp service to help parents of premature babies. And I hired someone to run Bempu in India, do that business. That person fell sick, so and that put me in a bad position. The leader I had, so I hired someone else to run Bempu while I was doing this, trying to focus on building a scaling business that could also kind of offset and subsidize the scale for Bempu. Then COVID hit. US business didn't do well. The India business was just burning cash. This senior expensive leader I had brought in to run the business, we really couldn't afford him, and the model that he couldn't really execute on the model during COVID. So I had to lay off like 40 people.
Oh my gosh.
I had to shut down this US business. I had VCs and funders who weren't happy. And in the meantime, my embassy's closed down. My wife, we had just gotten married, couldn't get her green card to come live in the US. So it was like a really tough time. I was honestly depressed. Just felt like, why am I putting up with all this? I could have been maybe on payroll at Johnson & Johnson still. I think at that time I got some support from friends, from mentors, from family. I think they sort of gave me some perspective that it is a tough time. It is a tough time for a lot of people. My grantors gave me some extensions and were supportive within their also constraints. And I remember talking to my friend, and he's like, don't give up on Bempu. Bempu's like, this is your legacy. Like, COVID's not going to be here forever. Like, stick with it. So I stuck with it. I came back to India. I had kind of a reawakening where I was like, dude, I actually love India. And so my wife got her green card, but we decided to stay in India. So it was actually like, we decided to stay, spend a lot of our time there. Running Bempu, and now things have picked up again. Yeah. In fact, after COVID, a lot of the progress for neonatal mortality had kind of become stalled because they couldn't execute a lot of the action plans that they had for newborn improvement. So at that time, it felt even like a higher need to we got to work even harder to catch up on what we felt, the global health world fell behind on in the last 3 years during COVID. So yeah, tough time.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And yet, you're here, and I feel like you're thriving now. So not to get too personal, but when you're going through that really intense time and being depressed, I think you were part of our Asia leadership circle around that time, and I think you're still very much a part of that leadership circle.
How many years? It's been like 4 or 5 years. I
Yeah,
think.
it's still going strong. I guess
right.
talking a little bit about like the power of having mentors and peers and community, can you talk a little bit about like what those kinds of communities mean for you personally and professionally?
Yeah. So the Asia Leadership Group is a group of other social entrepreneurs operating their companies in Asia, and we get together once a month for about 2.5 hours or so, and check in with each other, see what's going on. It's kind of like a nice way to know how people are progressing, what they're dealing with, and it's a very confidential space where we can be vulnerable, share our problems, and give honest feedback to each other. It's really, I think, been a very supportive community for me. Many of those founders coincidentally happen to be in Bangalore, so we've also like been able to meet in person, if not in Nairobi, and so on.
Yeah.
Actually, Shantanu and I, who's another Miller Center entrepreneur, kind of formed a bond through that, and now he is actually distributing our Apnea boot system.
That's so cool.
And he's just informed me that he's got us into a couple of our government deals now.
Amazing.
Which is what the babies we wanted to help. So that kind of, and you know, it's a business relationship, but I think first it was a trust and friendship relationship. We were both struggling with some of the same issues. So that group has been that group, and Lance, who's moderating it.
Yes. I love you, Lance. Yeah.
Who's been great. Has been very, I think, helpful for me to have a safe space to talk about the issues that I'm dealing with and learn from other people. Many of them run different businesses, but like I said, I've actually appreciated getting to know how other businesses operate, giving me some creative ideas on debt financing, sales models, HR. So that has definitely helped me through. It's helped me through tough times, but also invigorated me and helped me capitalize on, I think, good times.
I think that's really important. It's like, yes, these kinds of groups are critical to help you think through these kind of big, sometimes business challenges, hard decisions you have to make, but also I think it can be quite lonely as an entrepreneur, as a leader. So having a group to also just like celebrate how far you've come and like acknowledging that, because that's not nothing. That's huge. And I think having those people in your lives to cheer you on, like obviously your wife and your family, but having other people that really get it, like that truly get the experience, is really important. So I just want to make sure that you know that, right? Like you know how much you've done in the world, and you literally have a legacy, and it's remarkable. And so it's I just think it's so cool that you're doing what you're doing.
Thank you for all the support. I mean, in all these programs and getting us together here and always being there for us. So we really appreciate it.
Of course, yeah. And talking about building community is a really big priority for Miller Center. And I guess my question for you is, when you're trying to be a part of a community or you're seeking out a group to be a part, what's something you look for? I think trust is a big thing, but like what keeps you in a community, I guess, is the question.
I mean, I think the communities that I found that I've kind of stayed in touch with, I think are communities that I felt that I can give value to and that can kind of give value back to me. Yeah. So there's definitely been other programs and things that I think maybe have been like a one-time help. It doesn't feel like they're going through the struggle with you. But I think I've been with Miller Center since 2000, and again, what year was I?
It's 2018 when I was looking up in Salesforce. Yeah.
And so we've had the Nairobi, we've had the in person. I have the mentors. Then actually I went through the COVID accelerator also.
That's right.
Yeah.
You did, yes.
And that also helped us. I mean, the COVID accelerator, I guess we're jumping a little bit back and forth here, but that was actually a little slightly instrumental for me deciding that I needed to actually figure out an ethical and fair way to lay off a number of people to keep the organization alive and really like do what we set out to do. I mean, so it was a tough decision, but again, it wasn't taken in a vacuum. It was taken with the support of mentors and some frameworks and some of the frameworks to transition. And then with the leadership group, it feels good when I can like make a suggestion that actually helps some of the entrepreneurs, or like facilitating this session. It feels like what I've been doing actually, if it doesn't help Bempu, it can at least help other people. So I feel that give and take has been an important part of any community that I've been in, and has also helped keep the engagement. The other part of it, I think, is actually also having the opportunity to be vulnerable with the community. As like I said, this stuff is not, we deal with mental health issues, we deal with finance issues, we deal with family, we deal with burnout. We also deal with wins. I mean, we deal with like huge successes. We want to celebrate with each other. We want to be there like through the journey, and it is a lonely journey. So having that community that's what I find useful in a community.
Yeah, I think that's very true. A few things that I've noticed over the years, because I've been with Miller Center for about 10 years now, and just how far the ecosystem has grown, the impact entrepreneur ecosystem, because back in the day, we would look to entrepreneurs that weren't impact driven, and we'd use those as kind of like the baseline for how to do things.
Oh.
But now we have so many entrepreneurs like yourselves that have just done the work for so many years that we can look to you now for the wisdom and the guidance, and you're literally paying it forward. Like, you just co-facilitated this session, and it's beautiful to see that arc in this space, that we've got all of this collective wisdom now to keep growing and support others coming on the scene. It's quite powerful, actually.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
And you're a part of that,
Thank you.
So I want to think about how you think a little bit, because you're talking about sort of like burnout and kind of like when things get messy or overwhelming in your business. What's a mental framework that you use to kind of help you kind of break it down and move forward?
I have a couple protocols. So I think, there's kind of like short-term stress, long-term stress, and like overwhelming and confusion. So it kind of depends on where I'm at. And I think maybe it's taken some experience and time for this to happen. But, definitely like sometimes I start the day and I'm feeling overwhelmed, but I have like a way to dump everything out of my mind. I'm a little bit more of a nerd kind of guy, so I dump everything into Excel and sort of sort it,
yeah.
and then get myself to a plan.
Yeah.
But then sometimes, it's kind of like right now we're kind of, the bigger question is we're in a great spot where our products are saving babies, but we're not saving nearly enough babies. And that's overwhelming in a different type of way.
Right.
So now I kind of I know how to basically call up my CTO, or I'll call up one of my mentors, or maybe all of them, and kind of have more of a brainstorming, mind mapping type of session to help me get things a little organized and have more of a strategy meeting.
When things kind of get just really crazy in your life, what do you do to help you kind of really break through the madness and just get that clarity that you need? And it sounds like you said you have these protocols and really practical tools that you can use.
Yeah. And so those are kind of like work things, but I think again, definitely you can't separate life too. So I think I have found for me that if I'm feeling overwhelmed repeatedly and cloudy, then maybe I need to get back on my workout routine. Meditating in the morning has been very helpful for me. When I have a lot of work to do, I find that if I don't do work on the weekends or in the evening, that actually helps me sort of contain it. And actually get it done within 40 hours. Sometimes working 60 hours, I get more work done in 40 hours than 60 hours if I continue to 40 hours. Yeah, so I think keeping that balance. I think Gandhi had this situation. I might be doing this wrong, where there was some emergency situation, and they're like, "Why are you meditating right now?" And he's like, "Why? What's going on?" And they're like, "There's this emergency." He's like, "Oh, then I should meditate even longer." So that kind of resonates. Slowing down when you think you need to speed up.
I think, oh my God, that just really, I got goosebumps when you said that, because I feel that so hard. For me personally, last year, I felt like I was working definitely 60-hour weeks with work and other work stuff, and got a lot done, but I feel like it's just not a sustainable way to work. So when you kind of set I guess sort of boundaries in a way for yourself, you do actually get.
What do you do? What did you do then?
What did I do?
Yeah.
Well, I meditate, honestly, and that helps me kind of come back to being fully present. And when you're back to being fully present in your body, you kind of get that clarity of what you need to do and be kind of efficient with how you can solve it. And so slowing down to really find solutions faster has been really effective for me personally.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, what's one maybe something about the world or the way that you see the world you wish more people understood or saw? And I'm asking this because yourself and a lot of the entrepreneurs here, you're all renegades, honestly. You choose to do, you saw a problem, and rather than just turn away from it, you're actively solving the problem. And so I think you kind of have to have something about you, you're seeing something a little bit differently. And so for you, what is that thing?
I think in general for me, it's I see. Yeah, I was trained as an engineer, and I see problems as fun things to solve. Now, some of these are very depressing problems. Some of them, are I told you, we spent all this time in the government. We couldn't convert. We had to lay off a lot of people. These are tough problems, but I guess I've come to the place where not everything is the end of the world, and all of these are learning experiences. And actually I don't know, there's maybe something kind of interesting or interesting in a way to solve this. So
Yeah.
I had to lay off a number of people, and now I keep like a solid 6 month reserve in salaries, and whenever I have to let someone go, I always give them at least 6 months notice. Is my way of solving that and preventing that
That's
from
smart.
happening.
Yeah.
And maybe I wouldn't have had that, and it's saved me in a couple. We've had other tough situations. So I've learned from that. It's like a kind of now that problem can't happen to me anymore. I've solved it in my own way.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think with every problem is some sort of opportunity or insight
Yes.
that has come there. I think one of the big things for me was I was kind of not liking living in India. Or I've been there 15 years, and I think up to year 5 or 6 was fun. Then year 7, 8, 9, I was like, wait, what am I doing here? I don't really like this. I don't like spicy food. I'm not like, So then I tried to move to the US, and then it didn't work out because of COVID and my wife's green card and everything. So I moved back. But then for some reason I was like, okay, this is a problem. Like, what is this? Then I realized like where I live in Bangalore is like amazing weather. So I started working out outside. I started getting into gardening. I would have never thought that I would be like into growing flowers and things from vegetables from seeds. And I take a walk every day because the weather's so great. So I've just kind of like, I think, flipped it somehow.
That's cool.
And plus I get a job. I have a job where I get to save babies, so it's really fun. Really cool.
I love that. I think you've already had a tremendous amount of success, but what does, like, in your mind, if you've solved all the problems that you're solving, what does that look like for you? What does success look like? And maybe it's like you're out of a job because you've solved everything. What is that for you?
I mean, in the quote unquote near term, I think for me, the neonatal mortality rate in developing countries, many of these countries we work in, 4 or 5 out of every 100 kids don't make it to their first birthday. In the US, it's like, it's fractions of a percent. So in my mind, that should all be, it should be equalized around the world. When we're at that, in parts of India, some of the districts, they have achieved Western levels of neonatal mortality, which is very impressive. There's still a long way to go. So for me, that's kind of to some extent, Bempu, I think, will be done when that is done. Of course, there's other problems to solve with child mortality and other inequities.
Got it. What are you looking forward to? What are you excited about this year? What do you got going on?
I'm pretty excited about Bempu. I feel like we can only go up. We're getting like more and more great clinical results. Actually, what's been really exciting for us is that, for example, we have a large program in Rajasthan. I told you like some 15 that we're working with a partner there. 3 or 4 other partners went and saw their implementation and now have started using our products for their programs in Uganda, Nigeria.
Wow.
And we got this large order from UNICEF in Chad, and we're like, how did you hear about this? We haven't talked to you.
Chad. Wow.
They had gone and seen our deployment in Burkina Faso. Folks in UNICEF Burkina Faso said this bracelet's doing great, like in many French Francophone countries now, because they just saw it. So I'm really excited about that we're spreading by word of mouth. I'm excited because it means the product's doing good. I'm also excited because then I don't have to travel to 20 states maybe as much to go do my sales pitches.
Yeah.
And then also like we launched in the US, which has also been kind of an exciting growth journey for us with some of our products, consumer going B2C. Then personally, I'm just feeling great. I mean, my garden is booming pretty well, and I just started brewing my first batch of beer. So that's like a little side up. So I'm trying to do things that don't involve screens. So gardening is one of them. Mm-hmm. I just started brewing beer, and I just decorated my first cake. I got into the Great British Baking Show.
Wait, stop. You got into the British Baking Show?
Yeah, the Great British Baking Show?
Like you're on the show?
No, I can't into it. No.
Okay.
Maybe someday, but maybe I have to be British for that. But,
got it. So but you're like watching the show, and you're like,
I've been watching the show for a while, and I was like, you know what? Why don't I make it? So I'll show you some pictures.
Show me some
decorated
pictures.
My first cake, made the compote.
That's very fancy.
Yeah, it was fancy.
I'm super impressed.
Thank you.
You definitely
I had some help. I had a mentor.
Got it. That's awesome. Very cool. Well, so when you're not saving babies, when you're not baking and gardening and making beer, how else are you spending your time? Or maybe that is how you spend your time.
Yeah, it took me some time to get some balance. I think my wife was a big part of that. I think also having some mentors who were, I realized how chill they were and how much they accomplished by being chill. I think,
interesting. That's a good insight.
And kind of thinking a little being able to think more at a high level, and if you're burning out, it's not good. So we do that. My wife and I also, wherever we can, we like to travel. So we actually, when I was burnt out a couple years ago, we took a year off to travel, we're very fortunate to have been able to kind of do that and backpack and stay in different places.
Sounds like an amazing life that you have for yourself.
It is. It is. Thank you.
Very cool.
I'm very lucky.
You are very, very blessed. So I ask this to everybody, but are there any books or podcasts that resonate with you that you would recommend our viewers watch or read? And it can be about anything.
Yeah, I think inspirational for me was the Alchemist.
Yeah, classic.
By Paulo
Yep.
Coelho. Kind of helping me, I think, at a meta level for work was Your Brain at Work by David Rock. It's this nice kind of book on how to help your brain function better throughout your day and how to manage your energy and think about problems like when you're too much in the weeds, how to take a step back and how to get insights. So I found that book one of my coaches had recommended that to me. Sales, it was How I Failed Myself, Success in Sales, I think is the name of the book. Just this old written style book, but I found it very fun to read, very simple and very got me excited about sales, even though I don't like doing sales. So I think I can do this.
Cool.
Yeah, so there's some of the resources.
Well, if people want to get a hold of you or learn more about the work that you're doing with Bempu, what are all the places? What are all the handles?
Yeah, follow us on Instagram at Bempu. You can email me at ratul@bempu.com. Our website is bempu.com. And my email is ratul@bempu.com. And if we can work together to help more newborns, if I can help you with your work, love to be in touch.
Yeah, amazing. Well, thank you so much for this time, Ratul. I admire all the work that you're doing, and it's just nice to actually sit down with you and hear more about your journey. I don't know, is there anything you want to share that we didn't discuss that you wanted to let people know about?
No, I mean, thank you. Thank you to you, Karen, and to the Miller Center for all the programs that you've, and different ways of support that you've supported us and continue to support us and other entrepreneurs. So.
It's our pleasure and our honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, thanks everybody.